Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. My name is Capo Daniel, the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense Pass King, una own countryman. Una welcome to our daily broadcast, a program where they bring meaningful information for una. Facts-based, evidence-based analysis for help us navigate through this journey to freedom, to Ambazonian independence. Our fellow countrymen, we start today with bad news where they come from Batibo Road, where the terrorist Cameroon occupation forces, as they travel along that road through liberated areas, they shoot sporadically, they then shoot, kill some person, a 10-year-old boy. The 10-year-old boy, they play with a friend them. When the terrorist forces, they come, they shoot wildly in the air. The 10-year-old boy, he then become the latest victim for over 30,000 Ambazonian them, where they then be slaughtered by the Cameroon occupation forces. While for Bambili, the incident will be happen on the 4th of this month of May 2022, where the Cameroon terrorist military they be enter for some house, then kill an Ambazonian fighter together with his girlfriend for bed. It then turn out for BC that story it be been a lie. As we talk, one of the husband for family of the victim them, it then be held for inside La Republic to Cameroon, their prison incommunicado. Human rights and lawyers them for ground, they don't try for access the man. The Cameroon military, they need want them forgive the man. The detailed story, it shows say the Ambazonian boy, when a 17-year-old, where they be just suspecting say belong for Ambazonian forces them. It be there for inside house. The Cameroon military then come for that house. It she don't, it be the watch TV, then shooty for chair, as it be the watch TV, it die. Now for day way, the girl where they claim say na a woman where they be sleep for bed, he be been for the other house, he enter for can look wait till it happen, he come with 9-month-old pikin for a hand. The Cameroon military, where we been at the B battalion, then catch the girl and the pikin, then put them for their armored car, after then drive it around, then come back for that same compound, shoot the girl, take colass, chop up the girl skin bit by bit, tie for paper, dump the girl in their body. The girl when a cousin, where they catch and beat them, he cry, follow them for try for come for their office for ask them why they kill his sister, then BD sute, he paralyzed. The girl husband, he the one for raise alarm. Now he where the terrorists beat them, they arrest he till today. No man no place with the holy, no man nobody hear from me. It can make over a week. Lawyers they don't try in vain for get information about the terrorists beat them. They don't hide any information about the location or whether he still be alive. This one they show our people the pure image of Cameroon occupation. They take no prisoners. These are trained military who have adopted war crimes as their modus operandis. Killing innocent teenagers when they could easily arrest them can show the Ambazonia people what our children mean in the eyes of these terrorist francophone occupation forces. They are terrorists, they are criminals, they are Turks, and they have no place on our streets. This should be a wake-up call to all the youths in Mbengwi and Bambili that despite our limit of activities to the outskirts of these towns, the terrorist forces will look for excuses to continue to kill and butcher our people with or without any reasons or without any resistance from our forces. Our people then must therefore consider all Cameroon military men as war criminals, imminent danger to our people, and to continue to record their movement and to fight and resist the Cameroon occupation until the day the last Cameroon force will be booted out of our territory. The Egyptians we see today, we must make sure we don't see them tomorrow. For international side, for the side for diplomacy, the Ambazonian War for Liberation, it don't get huge attention for one of prominent human rights activists, where they call Jan Egeland. He been the Secretary General for the Norwegian Refugee Council, and one of those humanitarian actors and human rights actors where they be credited for bringing the plight of the people of Southern Sudan to prominence within the international system will eventually lead to the people of Southern Sudan their right of self-determination and independence to be accomplished. Jan Egeland didn't bring your attention this time for Ambazonian war for liberation. The last time he visit Boya, he come out with any powerful publication. But this time, as a result of the neglect of Ambazonian war of independence and the focus of the war of Russia in Ukraine, he has come up with a powerful diplomatic message to the international community. In a publication we put them for outside titled Cameroon, Africa's Unseen Crisis, the humanitarian explained, so the international community don't fallen asleep as the Cameroon crisis and brutal killing, burning of villages, hundreds and thousands of displaced people, it and the fall for the deaf ear for the international community. Mr. Jan, he explained, say the international attention, not the same for all conflict them. He talk say the Russia and their war for Ukraine, it don't take the lion's share for global media attention and for diplomatic engagement. He talk say it be very sad, say the war for the Cameroons, it don't get very little attention for international diplomatic and foreign policy experts. He talk say this war for Cameroon, now the war unseen war for the past 6 years. He talk say if the war they no come for can solve the problem, the war be likely for lead to Rwandan similar type of catastrophe, as we be all be done see am. He talk say this time over 6,000 people they don't be killed for this war. This it done set a new bar as international media they don't always try for quote the figure of 3,000 killed civilians. Mr. Jan is putting for the number of those killed to 6,000 is very significant and a big milestone, even though the Ambazonian Governing Council put the number of civilians killed by Cameroon military to be over 30,000. Mr. Egeland, he further explained for the war, say for this war between Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon, close to 1 million people they don't become IDPs, and now we La République it don't go sign accord with the Russian where you go see the dreaded Wagner Group, a private mercenary company from Russia. It will likely join the war. It don't become very worried, and the war no fit leave them. So he talk say now way the United States they don't begin for see they challenge them way they for inside this Cameroon, as the United States their homeland security it don't award the TPS status for Cameroons their refugee them waiting there for America for over 18 months. This policy it don't directly help over 40,000 Ambazonians and Cameroonians them waiting there for America for the next 18 months, and at a good step, but not just the beginning step them for help, for intervene, for stop this crisis before you go enter for inside genocide. Mr. Egeland, he be give the similar warning for the time where the Sudan government of Omar Bashir, he be go join with the Chinese military company them. He be talk say the risk for genocide, it be real, na he be make the international community, it be finally enter for Southern Sudan for solve the problem. This time, Mr. Egeland, he don't talk say the American government must coordinate with the United Nations, the African Union, the regional groupings, and the neighboring countries them for encourage all sides of the conflict from both the Ambazonian side to the Cameroon government side for them for sit on the negotiation table and resolve this war before it go reach for a level where it go enter for active genocide. End of statement. Mr. Jan Egeland, na a big heavyweight for international policy and foreign policy, and the international community they rely much on his writings as a big indicator where be a determining factor as the international community they consider the cases them for the across the war, with the hope Ambazonian case it could receive the same attention we deserve them like other international crises them. On our own part, the Ambazonian people need to continue to recognize the gravity of our problems, the risk for genocide, the continual targeted killing of our people, systemic collective punishment to our people by the Cameroon state. We must collectively come together, collaborate to fight as an existential war for us to free ourselves from Cameroon subjugation and Cameroon rule. We must fight from block to block, neighborhood to neighborhood, and each youth, each persons of these generations must do their own part to galvanize resources for our armed soldiers to fight the liberation war while our civilians resist Cameroon occupation until our country is free. Our civilians must not abandon the war effort to the hands of Ambazonian fighters, but they must continue to intensify their respect and observance of the Monday ghost towns and sustain the pillars of our liberation movement until we see Buya. God bless you. Capo Daniel, signing off.